Welcome to Amazing Dinosaurs. I'm Dave, and this is a collection of Jurassic World T-Rexes versus prey. The first T-Rex to check out is this new 93 collection Real Feel T-Rex. Check that out. It has a rubbery skin, and it has a stomach compartment so you can actually feed it smaller dinosaurs. And the prey that it's up against is this brown and blue Triceratops. This figure also comes with sound effects and a head movement action. Now let's move these figures to face off against each other. The Predator and the Prey. The next T-Rex that we're checking out is the new Dino Trackers Tyrannosaurus Rex in this awesome tan coloring with the yellow coloring on the top and the brown striping. Plus it's got this really cool headpiece and it has a chomping action button. And the prey that it's up against is this massive Stegosaurus figure. This one is in the brown, tan, and green coloring, and it has two action buttons. This first button here moves its head up and down, and this second button swings its tail back and forth. So now let's place the T-Rex on the T-Rex side here, and the prey Stegosaurus on the prey side. Next up is the Stomp and Escape T-Rex. This T-Rex has a massive roaring action versus its prey, the Ankylosaurus. This figure's from Jurassic World Dominion. It features the dark orange body with the brown on top and tons of spikes and a tail that controls the head. So now let's get the T-Rex in place and also its prey in place back here. Up next, we've got the new Legacy Collection dark green Tyrannosaurus Rex figure with the gray and yellow striping. It features a fully posable body and the button at the top of its head to chomp. And its prey that it's up against is the Kentrosaurus. This figure looks quite a bit like a Stegosaurus, but it has some massive spikes on its back and its tail and coming out of its sides as well. And it also has this torso swinging action that you can activate right on its back. So now let's get the T-Rex in place over here and its prey on this side over here. This next T-Rex is a pretty incredible one. This is a custom colored Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. Now in this beautiful camouflage color over its whole body, and it still has the battle damage on the side. And its prey that it's up against is this massive Pentaceratops figure. It has a huge frill on its head, and it comes with two action buttons. The first moves its head up and down, and the second swings its torso side to side. So let's place the T-Rex over here as the predator and the Pentaceratops over here as the prey. Our next predator T-Rex is this smaller T-Rex made by Hasbro instead of Mattel. And not only that, but it is a custom colored one. So it is now a bright red T-Rex with some black spots all over its body. And the prey that it is up against is actually another carnivore. This is an Allosaurus figure, and this one comes in the gray and yellow coloring all over its body. So now let's place the T-Rex right over here and the Allosaurus right over here. This next T-Rex is also red, but an even brighter red than the last one that we saw. Plus it has some fiery orange and yellow coming on its sides too. And it has an attack button on its head for chomping and roaring. And here is the prey that it is up against. This is a Spinosaurus in the green coloring on the top and sides. There's some tan, there's some dark orange, and it has some bright yellow eyes. Plus, on this figure, you can move the tail around to control the head and the horns. Now let's place the T-Rex over here on the T-Rex side and the Spinosaurus over here on the prey side. Now it's time to open up this new figure that I'm sure you saw at the beginning. This is the Chase and Roar Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it transforms too. Let's open it up. And here it is in its T-Rex form. It's got the classic orange coloring, and you can see some of the parts are gonna turn into the car parts. So now let's see it in the transformed version. And here it is in the car version. Looks pretty cool. It's got the classic coloring for the Jurassic Park Jeeps. It's pretty amazing how small it is compared to how big the T-Rex was too. And the prey that the Transformer T-Rex is up against is this Ankylosaurus figure in the green, gray, and lighter gray coloring. And it has an action button on its back to swing the tail back and forth. So now we're gonna place the Transformer T-Rex slash Jeep right here on the T-Rex side, and the Ankylosaurus over here on the prey side. This next T-Rex is the Camp Cretaceous Epic Roarin' T-Rex, one of my favorite. It has the light tan coloring on the sides, a little bit darker on the top, but the best part is this tail and button on the tail that you can move around to control the head in a really lifelike way. And that T-Rex is going up against this Iguanodon figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It has the light yellow tan coloring with the brown detailing on its body, and an attack action when you press down on its body. So now let's place the T-Rex way back here on the T-Rex side, and the Iguanodon right back here next to the Pentaceratops. This figure is also from Jurassic World Dominion, and it is the classic T-Rex figure with the new dark brown coloring and the black on top. And it has an action button and a swivel action on its tail, so you can control this figure's torso and its jaw. And up against that T-Rex is this Rajasaurus figure, also a carnivore, but a whole lot smaller. It comes in the dark blue coloring with the gray detailing and the purple spikes on top, and an attack action when you press down on its body. So let's put the T-Rex way back here on the T-Rex side, and the Rajasaurus over here on the prey side. The next T-Rex is another massive one. This is the Hammond Collection T-Rex. It has some of the best painting and detailing on its body, and it has some really cool yellow marbled eyes too. And up against that T-Rex is the Ouranosaurus figure. I think this is from Camp Cretaceous. It has a dark green body with some yellow detailing and some orange underneath its chin, and a little bit of blue on its mouth too. Plus it has an action button on its side that you can move for sound effects and head movement. Now let's put the Hammond T-Rex over here on the second row, and the Ouranosaurus right next to the Rajasaurus. This next T-Rex is another Legacy Collection T-Rex in the dark green coloring, but it's a bit different from the one that I showed you earlier because it only has the black spots on the top, but it still has the really cool button on the top of its head for the chomping and roaring. And the prey that it's up against is this Scorpionator figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got a brown coloring over its whole body. It looks like it almost has scales on its skin, and some orange detailing along the top, and some bright orange eyes. Plus, it has an attack action when you press down on its body. So we're gonna place this T-Rex right here next to the Hammond Collection T-Rex, and the Scorpionator over here on the other side, right next to the Ankylosaurus. Next up is another brand new figure to my collection. This is the T-Rex collectible from the Noble Collection. So this is a multi-piece collector's edition. You can actually place the T-Rex in the display right here. Got the awesome banner right on the side, just like in the first movie. And then it also comes with this nice little protective case that you can put right over the T-Rex, and it has a little background as well. And the prey that collector's T-Rex is up against is this Parasaurolophus from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got some really cool blue and orange detailing, and the blue right along the top of its head too. So now let's place this collector's T-Rex right here in the back, right next to the Transformers T-Rex Jeep, and the Parasaurolophus right in front here next to the Scorpionator. And last of all, we've got the massive Terran T-Rex figure. This T-Rex has the gray-brown coloring on the sides, a darker brown along the top, and the lighter underbelly. But best of all, it has these two massive action buttons on its back. One activates the tearing action, and the other button activates a huge tail swinging action. And the final prey for this Versus collection is this Pachycephalosaurus. It has a pale purple coloring and some darker purple detailing along its back and along the side of its face too. Plus, there's an attack action that when you press down on the tail, it activates its headbutting action. Now let's go ahead and place this Terran T-Rex way in the back over here, and this Pachycephalosaurus right in front of the Ouranosaurus. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs. Today we are checking out a collection of Jurassic World T-Rexes versus their prey. And to start it off, we're going to start with this old Jurassic Park T-Rex figure. This T-Rex figure has the real feel skin, so it's actually rubber instead of hard plastic. And when you press on the stomach, it opens and closes its mouth, although it doesn't work too well anymore. It's pretty old. And our first prey is this Dino Tracker's Stegosaurus. This is one of my newest Stegosaurus figures. It has this awesome backpack. There's some pretty cool coloring and detailing all over its body too. For the next mighty T-Rex, we're gonna go with this bright orange one, I believe from Fallen Kingdom. This figure features posable arms and legs, and you can use the tail for a roaring action or for a chomping action. This is one of the few dinosaur figures that has this type of chomping action. For our next prey, we're gonna go with the Amargosaurus figure. This dinosaur stands on all four legs, it has the super long neck, and these two really tall spine or frill things running down its neck all the way to its tail, and has an action button to move its neck and to move its tail too. This T-Rex figure is from the most recent Jurassic World movie, which was Dominion. It has the darker brown body with the black top, it has posable arms and legs, and on this figure you can move the tail side to side to move its torso and to open and close its jaw. Our next predator is actually another carnivore. This is the Baryonyx figure, and this one specifically has the bright orange paint on the top of its head. But let me know in the comments, do you think that T-Rexes hunted Baryonyxes? Back to the T-Rex side, we've got a T-Rex from the original Jurassic World movie. And like many figures from that movie, this figure is actually made by Hasbro, not Mattel, who makes all the new figures today. This figure has some sound effects. You can pose it in a roaring pose, and you can move its tail down for a chomping action. For the next prey, we've got an Iguanodon figure. I believe this one is also from Jurassic World Dominion. It's a medium-sized figure and it actually has an action. When you press down on its back, it chomps its head. This next T-Rex I got very recently. This is actually a custom painted T-Rex figure. You can see right here that it is also a battle damage T-Rex that you can still turn on and off, which is pretty awesome, and I love this camo coloring. This prey herbivore figure is the Hammond Collection Triceratops. Unlike many of the other Triceratops figures, this one has much more natural coloring. It does have a lighter underbelly, and there's some detailing along its face. I really love the detail on its horns. It makes it look really worn. Up next for the T-Rexes is actually another custom painted T-Rex that I got probably a few weeks ago. This figure is called, I think it's like the Terran T-Rex or something like that, and it has an action button on its back that you can use for the tearing action, and another button on its back to move the tail too. And this custom paint job has a much more realistic look, I think. You can see different shades of brown, and then of course it has the lighter underbelly. But the coolest part, I think, are all the battle damage slashes that the artist added onto this figure. So I think this is a lot more battle damage than this Terran T-Rex originally had. I think this next unusual dinosaur could also have been prey for T-Rex dinosaurs. This is a Sarcosuchus, and I believe there's two different versions of this figure. And this one has the green body with the brown on the top, and of course the super long jaw that you can open and close with a button on its tail. This T-Rex figure is a dark green color, and one of the only few, I think, that is naturally dark green. This was not custom painted. Its arms and legs and tail are posable like many of the other figures, and it has a button on the top of its head for the chomping action. Our next prey is an Ankylosaurus. This figure, I think, is from the Camp Cretaceous series, and it features the clay red underbelly and then the brown armoring on top with the tan spikes. And this figure features an attack action when you press down on its back. Back to the T-Rex side, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Epic Roarin' T-Rex. I think this T-Rex figure might actually be a little bit larger than many of the other T-Rex figures, and it features the movable arms and legs, and by moving the tail, you can move the T-Rex's head and open and close the jaw. Next up for the prey, I've got another Stegosaurus figure. This one is quite a bit older. It features the blue-green coloring on the sides. It's got a lighter yellow underbelly. And like many of the Stegosaurus figures, it has an attack button when you press down on one of its spines. Here's another battle damage T-Rex. This figure, kind of like the custom painted Terran T-Rex,
has battle damage painted on its body, some on its neck, a little bit on its chin, and elsewhere on its body too. And other than that, you can move its arms, you can adjust its legs and its tail, and it has the button at the top of the head for roaring. Back to the prey side, we've got, I believe, a Spinosaurus. This figure is in the light blue-gray coloring. It's also got some bright yellow and orange coloring on the front of its face. And by moving the tail, you can move the head, and it has sound effects too. These next two T-Rexes are a bit smaller in size than many of the other ones. This first one here is the Sound Surge T-Rex that came out for Jurassic World Dominion, and it's pretty small and it's a hard plastic compared to this Jurassic Park. I believe it's a juvenile T-Rex, and this figure has the real feel skin, so almost its whole body is this soft rubber. And this figure has some epic battle damage on its side, but no sound effects. However, the Sound Surge obviously does have sound effects. For our next prey figure, we're gonna go with one that might be a little controversial. It is a Velociraptor. Do you think that T-Rexes hunted Velociraptors? This figure is the basic Velociraptor, so you can pose its tail, its legs, and its arms, but it doesn't come with any sound effects or attack buttons. Next up for the T-Rexes is a figure that is very special to me. This is a Stomp and Escape T-Rex that I custom painted myself. And let's actually compare this painting with the original version. So here is the original paint job. You can see that it's mostly brown and it has some gray detailing along the top of its body. And compare that with what I did. So it still has a lot of brown on the top, but it's got this really nice green color running all the way up to its face. And then of course the bright yellow underbelly. I think it's pretty cool, and it is one of the figures I am the most proud of. The next prey figure is another scary looking carnivore, but it still might have been hunted by the T-Rex. This is the Suchomimus figure, and I think there are two different versions of this figure. This one is in the blue with the yellow detailing running down its spine, and it has one action button for the chomping action. Next, let's go ahead and open up this brand new one that I bought for this video. This is the Jurassic World Legacy Collection Extreme Chompin' T-Rex. All right, here it is. It's another bright orange T-Rex with the darker brown on top and the light underbelly. It has the posable arms, it's got the posable legs, and the tail as well. And you can actually move the neck and head around quite a lot too. But don't forget, it also has the chomping button on the top of its head. Our next prey is another Triceratops figure. I believe that this one is from Jurassic World Dominion, and it has some unusual colors on it. There's this soft green color in the back, and then it has this more swampy green color running up all the way to its face, and it has the orange on the top of its frill too. And this figure features an attack button when you press down on its body. This next T-Rex is an extreme battle damage T-Rex. It has the light underbelly with brown on the sides and then the gray detailing on the top. And I think this T-Rex might have been what this originally looked like. So check out those differences in the coloring now. They look totally different. For our next prey, we've got another Iguanodon figure, but this one actually came out quite recently. I believe it was released as a pack with a Scorpiovenator figure. And this Iguanodon has the light tan on the sides with the darker brown on top, and it has an attack button when you press down on its back. Our next T-Rex is the Mighty Bull T-Rex from Jurassic Park. You can see the leg tattoo right there. And like many of the older figures, this has the real feel skin, so it's a soft rubber over most of its body. And something that's pretty unique for the older Jurassic Park figures, this T-Rex can actually swallow smaller dinosaurs. And you can see the stomach compartment right there. This prey figure is the Herrerasaurus, and I believe this dinosaur is also a carnivore, but I think it was plenty small enough to be hunted by T-Rexes. And this Herrerasaurus figure features the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. Next, let's grab this huge super colossal T-Rex that's been hanging out in the back. This figure is also a custom colored T-Rex, and it is now in the dark green coloring with the black striping along the top. This figure might be one of my oldest super colossal figures. It definitely has a lot of wear and tear to it. Next up for the prey, I've got a small Parasaurolophus figure. Now it doesn't have any action buttons, but you can still pose its arms, its legs, its tail, and of course its head. And here's another classic T-Rex figure with the light brown and dark brown along the top, and a fully posable body, and the jaw chomping action. For our final prey and dinosaur of this collection is a baby Brachiosaurus figure. This one comes in a few different versions, and this is the light green on the sides and the dark green along the top.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a huge collection of Tyrannosaurus Rex versus Indominus Rex. First up, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Super Colossal T-Rex. This figure has a dark brown side and black top with the lighter underbelly, and it's got adjustable arms, legs, and a tail. And up front, I can tell that the plastic is a bit softer on its neck. The rest of its head is a hard plastic, and you can open it up way wide, and you're able to actually swallow smaller dinosaurs down to the stomach compartment. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got another super colossal figure. This is an Indominus Rex. It has the classic light gray body and is pretty detailed with all the spikes and the spines. It's got some spines up there, it's got some behind its elbows, it's got those super long claws on its hand. And just like the T-Rex, you can adjust the arms, the legs, and swing the tail around. But on this figure, you can also twist the neck too. Here is the next figure. It's another super colossal Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one has the light orange body with a lighter underbelly. And just like the Jurassic World Dominion Tyrannosaurus Rex, the neck is actually a little bit softer. It's like a softer plastic right there. And you can move the arms, the legs, the tail, just like the other ones. And of course, this one has the stomach compartment for eating smaller dinosaurs. And we've got some brand new figures that we can open up first before we dive into the rest of them. This one is the PNSO Wilson, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is super detailed. Look at all that texturing on its body, all the various shades of colors. It's like lighter right here, there's darker shades. These are a lot more detailed than a lot of the Jurassic World figurines. But unfortunately, they're not as posable. Usually you can only move their jaw. All right, let's dig in. This first Tyrannosaurus Rex is the Battle Damage Edition. It has the light orange body. You can see that there's scrapes and slashes all over its body, even on its face and nose. And it has a fully posable body, plus the button at the top of the head for chomping. Over here, we've got an Indominus Rex, the Extreme Battle Damage Edition. With this one, you can actually turn the battle damage on and off. That's so cool. Each time that you press that button, it delivers a roar sound effect too. On the rest of the figure, the arms and the legs are fully adjustable, and there's a button at the tail that controls the jaw. Here we've got the epic Roarin' Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is light brown on the sides, dark brown on top, and the lighter underbelly. And the coolest part is the roar and shaking sound effects. Over here is the Jurassic World Chompin' Indominus Rex. This is a bit of an older figure. It's got the hard plastic on the back and the rubber on the neck and head. You don't see that too often nowadays. And for the chomping action, you pull down on the arms to open and close its mouth. I believe this figure is the Bite and Fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has one big special feature. Press this button on its back and it does a tearing action. Swings its head around and closes its mouth real fast. And there is also a secondary button that swings its tail back and forth. I believe this figure is the Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex, but you'll notice that it has some custom coloring. So, this definitely does not look like your typical Indominus Rex. And this figure really pops out on my display shelves. My favorite part being those green eyes right there. Next up is the Stomp and Escape Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has two features. The first, when you press this button on its back, it'll escape from its face cage. Just like that. And the second feature is Stompin'. When you twist the tail, it stomps its feet up and down. Comes with sound effects too. Here we have a classically colored Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex. This figure is pretty detailed over its body. It's got tons of spikes on its back. It's got those spines right along its neck. It's got some unique coloring along its eyes, right next to those orange eyes. And this figure has a few different features. First, when you bend the legs forward, it'll actually point its head down. And when you bend them back, it'll point its head upwards. Secondly, there's a button on its back that's used for slashing. And finally, there's a button on its tail for the chomping and roaring. Here is an extreme battle damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is pretty poseable. You're able to move the arms, the legs, and swing the tail around, as well as adjust the neck and open and shut the jaw by hand. But the coolest part is the battle damage that you can turn on and off, just like the Indominus Rex that we saw earlier. And you can see it on both sides. Next up, we've got the Extreme Chompin' Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has a more gray-brown coloring on the sides, with a darker brown on top and the light underbelly, and is adjustable just like many of the other figures. And it has the button at the top of its head for chomping and roaring. Here is another Indominus Rex, but this does not look normal. This is a hybrid Indominus Rex. So this one has some pretty awesome and unique coloring along its body. It's the only Indominus Rex to have red on its body, I believe, as well as the gold on its arms and its belly. And this dinosaur has a few features. First is a hidden button that activates its spikes on its back. Secondly is the chomping action, which you activate by moving its arm. Here we have, I believe, another extreme chomping Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one, though, has the orange body with the brown coloring on the top with the lighter underbelly. And of course, that chomping button right on the top of its head. This is the Stomp and Chomp Tyrannosaurus Rex. It has the typical orange body with the brown top and lighter underbelly. And what I really like about this figure is that you use the tail to control the head and the whole front of the body for chomping and for roaring too. Here we've got a model Indominus Rex, which I don't see that many of. But what I like about these models is that they're so much more intricately colored and textured. Check out those spikes on its back. They're so small on all those little spines. And all those little horn things right along its back all the way to its tail. And just like many other model figures, you can't adjust the arms and legs. Only the mouth can open and close in these. But these sure look epic on a display shelf. Next up is the Legacy Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is one of the few Tyrannosauruses that I have that are this cool green color with the black detailing on the top. It has that same button on the top of its head for chomping. And this T-Rex actually came with a baby T-Rex in the same pack. So these came together. Here is a smaller Indominus Rex figure with a battle damage on the side that you can open and close. And while most of its body is that iconic gray color, it does have some gray-green coloring along the top, which is different from most of my other Indominus Rex figures. Plus, this figure comes with a chomping action when you move the tail. Way at the bottom here, I've actually got the T-Rex anatomy kit. Now I am missing a few pieces to it. It's really easy to misplace these, but it's really cool that you can take this apart to check out all the different body parts within. You can take the ribs out, you can see this muscle on its tail and the bone behind it, and you can even take apart this foot right here and see what's underneath. How cool is that? This is the Bashers and Biters Indominus Rex figure. This is from the old Jurassic World toy line, and
and it has similar coloring to the rest of them, a little bit darker gray on top, got the battle damage on the side, and of course you can move the tail to control the face. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex figure, but I believe it is a juvenile or even a baby T-Rex. You can see it's got the mouth restraint on because the humans are actually healing its leg. It's got a broken leg, so it's got this bandage around it. And this figure is very adjustable too. You can move all the limbs, even at the elbows. And of course you can move the tail and twist the head around and even open and close the mouth. This is the Feeding Frenzy Indominus Rex. This is a lot smaller than most of the Indominus Rex figures, but it has quite a large face to it. And it has a few features. The first is when you press this button on its nose, get some sound effects. And the second is when you move the tail, it opens its mouth to eat, and then you can press down on its tongue to clamp shut its jaw. And last of all, I've got a few small figures in here. Got a Lego Indominus Rex figure, which is pretty cool. It's the only Lego figure that I have in this bin, at least. We've also got some miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex figures from Jurassic World. This one is green with a light underbelly, and the second one here is brown with a light underbelly as well. And I also have these two Indominus Rexes in this bin. The first one is white with silver, reflective silver on its top, and you can open and close the jaw. And the second one is a clear Indominus Rex. You can't move any parts on this figure, but I think it's pretty cool that it's see-through.
Today, I'm showing you all of my T-Rex figures from biggest to smallest, so let's jump in. My first biggest T-Rex is this super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World. This T-Rex has a bright orange body with a darker brown top, and just like all my super colossal figures, it can swallow miniature dinosaurs down its throat to the stomach compartment that you can open it up. My next biggest T-Rex is this super colossal Jurassic Park T-Rex. This is actually from Jurassic World Dominion. It has a much darker body. It's got black on top, brown on the sides, and a lighter underbelly. It's got a huge jaw, and this figure can also swallow miniature dinosaurs and open them up in the stomach compartment. Next up, we've got a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe this T-Rex was called the Bull T-Rex. And this figure too can swallow miniature dinosaurs and other small stuff, and you can empty it out in the stomach compartment. Right on top here, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has some of the coolest coloring out of all the T-Rexes that I have. And it is remarkably adjustable too. You can bend the legs in all different directions, at the knees, at the ankles. You can bend the arms, you can twist the neck, and you can open the mouth, of course. Next, I've got this huge Jurassic World T-Rex with this ginormous head. This figure has the black top and brown sides, just like the super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World Dominion. And this T-Rex can be controlled by moving the tail around. Back here, we've got, I believe, what is called the Terran T-Rex or something like that. The special feature on this T-Rex is the tearing action with its mouth. It swings its head around and closes it at the same time. And it's got a secondary action button to swing the tail around too. This T-Rex, also from Jurassic World, is a stompin' T-Rex. When you twist the tail, it stomps its legs up and down. And it has those cool sound effects too. Plus, as you notice with the cage, it actually breaks free from the cage just by pressing the button on its back. That is pretty cool. Here we've got another Jurassic Park T-Rex. So this is a very old figure. It's got the rubber body. And with this T-Rex figure, you can move the tail to swing the head back and forth. So it's not as advanced as the new Jurassic World T-Rexes, but it's still pretty cool. We've got tons more T-Rexes to go. Let's keep digging. This huge T-Rex with similar coloring as the first super colossal T-Rex that we saw has some pretty cool functions. When you swing the tail, it swings its head back and forth, and it has a roar function when you move the tail, and a chomping action. All just by moving the tail. That is pretty cool. Over here, we've got a darker gray colored T-Rex with some brown on the top. This is also by Jurassic World, and you can twist the neck around, you can open the jaw, there's a button on top, activate the chomping, and you can swivel the tail around and move the legs as well. I think this one's bigger than the rest of them. This T-Rex has one of my favorite functions. It's actually battery operated, so that when you press the button on its tail, it opens its mouth and shakes. It actually has a motor in it to do that, which is pretty cool. Plus, you can move the tail around to swing its neck around to look. That's really cool. This T-Rex was custom colored a long time ago. It's got the bright green on the side, and it's got like camo colors and black all over the rest of its body with the lighter underbelly. And just like that bright orange T-Rex we saw just a second ago, you can control chomping and roaring with this figure just by moving the tail around. Next up, we've got a light brown T-Rex from Jurassic World. This is very similar in function to the darker gray figure that we just saw. It has the chomping button on the top of its head. You can move its neck around, and you can adjust the rest of its body parts too. This is the extreme battle damage T-Rex from Jurassic World. It's got some different patterning along the top of its body compared to the rest of them, but the most important part is the battle damage on both sides that you can press this button up top to turn it on and off. Plus, the rest of the figure is very adjustable as well. Here's another T-Rex with some battle damage on it. It doesn't have the extreme battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off, but it does have these slashes all over its body, even its legs and its tail too. The rest of the figure is very adjustable, and of course, the button at the top of the head for chomping. Next up, we've got another custom colored T-Rex. This one is a super bright red color. Looks kind of like fire in my opinion, and it's got the black on the top and the orange striping right along the sides. And this figure is adjustable just like many of the other figures that I've shown so far too. Next up, we've got another bright orange T-Rex with the brown top. This figure is fully adjustable throughout its body, and it's got the chomp button at the top of its head. Here's one of my favorite T-Rexes. This is a dark green color, and I'm not sure that I have any other green colored T-Rexes in my collection, so this one's pretty special to me. It's also got the black detailing along the top, and its body is fully adjustable with the legs, tail, arms, and neck, and there's the button at the top of its head for chomping. Let's keep going. We still got quite a few T-Rexes to go. This T-Rex is from the old Jurassic World toy line. It's got a rubberized neck, so it's a bit flexible there, as well as the rubberized tail. And it has a chomping action with the tail. Now we're getting down to some slightly smaller T-Rex figures. This is a Jurassic World T-Rex, and it is actually a hybrid. It's got some spikes on the top of its head that you can push down and activate them by pressing the button on its back. Here is another custom colored T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. It is bright red in color with black spots all over and the yellow underbelly. And it also has a chomping action on its back. Here's another similar T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. This T-Rex is light tan in color all over its body. It's a little bit lighter on its belly. And just like the other two that we just saw, it has the chomping action button on its back. All right, this next T-Rex is a little bit smaller. This is a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe it's a juvenile T-Rex, and it's actually got some battle damage right on the side. Next up, we've got a new Jurassic World Dominion figure. This, I believe, is the Sound Surge T-Rex. It's pretty small in size, and you have to open and close its jaw manually, but it does come with some awesome sound effects. And we've got some model T-Rexes in here. I'm not sure what brand this is from, and you can't move any of the limbs or the jaw on this figure, but it's got the dark brown coloring. It's got some interesting shading and black stripes all over its body.
Here is another dark brown model T-Rex, but on this one you can open and close its jaw. It's also got the black stripes and the lighter underbelly too. Check out that little bit of yellow right there on its nose. It's interesting. Here is a dark green model T-Rex. This one you cannot move any of its body parts, so it is standing in this awesome roaring pose, just like I'm sure you've seen in the movies. Here is a bright orange or red model T-Rex. With this figure you can open and close the jaw, check out all those little teeth, and this figure looks quite a bit more muscular than a lot of the T-Rexes, I will say. Here is a super bright model T-Rex. It's got the bright blue along the top of its body, as well as the gold stripes. It's got a gray underbelly, and some teal coloring right along its face. Here is a darker model T-Rex. I love the attention to detail with the skin. It's like you can see all these little bumps all over its body. It's got the black stripes as well, and on this model you can open and close its mouth. Here is a super striped T-Rex. This has some really bold black stripes right along the top of its body, while the rest of its body is this soft tan or orange color. And it's got some super bright yellow eyes too. And unfortunately, you cannot move any of the body parts on this model. Next up, we've got a light green colored T-Rex with some darker shading and detailing along its body. You can see those bumps right along its spine. And this figure does not have any moving parts either, so it is stuck in this roaring pose. We've got some even smaller T-Rexes in here. Here is a Jurassic World T-Rex that is pretty small. It's probably 7 inches from tail to the nose, and it fits easily in my hand. It's got some battle damage on the side, and the tail controls the jaw and face. We've actually got a few more Jurassic World T-Rexes just like that last one. This first one is actually a hybrid T-Rex. It is a hybrid with a Dilophosaurus, as you can tell by these huge frills in the front. It's still got the battle damage on the side, and it's got this reflective gold along the top of its body and the very front too. And this T-Rex has a bright green body. It's got the battle damage on the side still, and some darker detailing right along its face. This T-Rex figure is from Jurassic Park, so this is a super old figure. It's got some interesting purple detailing along the top. It's got a tan body, and actually, this figure has a unique feature on the leg. You can actually bend it like that, because it is a broken leg for this T-Rex. Right over here, we've got another juvenile T-Rex. This one has a bandage on its leg and the restraint on its mouth, so it can't bite people. It is super bright green with some cool detailing along the back and is very adjustable with all of its limbs too. This baby T-Rex is also from Jurassic World. It is bright green or yellow in color with some detailing along the top, and when you pull down on the tail, it chomps its jaws shut. All right, we've got some super small T-Rexes in here. I believe this one is from Jurassic World. I'm not sure actually, but they are both brown in color. This one is very adjustable. You can even move the tail around, you can move the legs and open and close the jaw. But this figure doesn't have any moving parts actually. And our last two T-Rexes of this collection from biggest to smallest. We've got a bright blue T-Rex with black stripes and no movable body parts. And this T-Rex here, you can move the legs, you can twist the tail around, and you can open and close the jaw too.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a huge collection of Jurassic World apex predators, meaning that they are at the top of the food chain. And I've actually got a brand new Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Jurassic World Legacy Collection that we're gonna open up first. Here is the brand new T-Rex and the baby T-Rex. I already have one of these T-Rexes, but I think this is the first of the green T-Rex that I have.
So I'm super excited to check this one out. As you can see, most of its body's a dark green color. It's got the lighter underbelly and it's got the black detailing right along the top. And it's about as adjustable as my other T-Rex figures. So you can move the ankles, you can move the legs into different positions, move the tail around, and then the neck you can also move around so it can look in different directions. And of course, there's the button at the top of its head for the chomping action. This is a really cool looking figure, and I'm sure that the T-Rex is one of the best known apex predators. Here we've got a dinosaur that you can't find in real life, but I'm sure it would be an apex predator if it was real. This is the Indominus Rex, and this is one of the big figures. You can see that it's pretty adjustable. You can move the legs into different positions, and that causes the dinosaur to look up and down. You can see it moves its neck back and forth like that. This figure also comes with the 2 action buttons, one for the chomping, and then one on the back for the slashing action. This is another T-Rex. This one is mostly brown. It's got the dark brown on the top, lighter brown on the sides, and then a tan on the bottom. And this T-Rex figure has a tearing action, actually. So when you press this button on its back, it tears just like that. And there's also a second action button that swings the tail back and forth. Here is a Carcharodontosaurus with blue coloring on its body and the orange and brown detailing on the top. This also has one action button for chomping. Plus, you can adjust the arms and the legs and the tail as well. Next up, we've got 2 Endoraptors. And obviously, these dinosaurs aren't from real life, but if they were, I can guarantee you that they would be an apex predator. I just remember them from the Jurassic World movie. These were some of the most feared dinosaurs. This first Endoraptor is a more basic figure. You can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail, but you can't adjust the neck or open and close the mouth. But on this second Endoraptor figure, this one is super adjustable. It's got a bunch of points of articulation. Again, it's a double jointed tail. You can bend the knees, you can bend the ankles, you can adjust the arms fully, and you can open and close the mouth too. Right over here, we've got 2 Suchomimuses. This one is a blue with yellow detailing, and this one is yellow with brown detailing on the top. This one has 2 action buttons, one for chomping and one for the tail. This Suchomimus only has 1 action button that activates the jaw. Right up top here, we've got a smaller figure, but still a fearsome predator. This is a Baryonyx. It's got the green sides and belly and the brown top. The arms and legs can articulate and move around, and there's an action button on its back for chomping. Back here, actually, we've got another Baryonyx. This one has a brown body and sides with the dark gray-blue coloring on the top, and the bright orange detailing right on the top of its face. And just like the other figure, the legs and the arms can move too. Here is an older Jurassic World figure. You can see that this is another T-Rex. It's got the full tan body, and on its head it's got some gray detailing. It's got those yellow eyes and an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Here we've got a newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. This is a Kentrosaurus. It's got the green body, a lighter yellow underbelly. It's got some brown detailing along the top, and then that bright orange piece right on its head. This figure is pretty adjustable with its arms and its legs. You can see that moving the legs dips its head down like that. And the tail controls the jaw and can move the neck around too. Back here is another newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. This is a Scorpiovenator. This figure has an orange belly and sides. It's got some white detailing right along the top and a dark gray-blue color right along the top of its head. This figure is fairly adjustable. You can move the arms and the legs, and when you push down on its legs, it does a chomping action. This one is another T-Rex. This T-Rex, though, is the Battle Damage Edition. It's got the button on top that you can use to turn on and off the battle damage, which is a pretty awesome feature. This figure is pretty adjustable, too. You can move the ankles, can move the legs up and down. The tail only has one joint in it, though. But the neck of this T-Rex is really adjustable. You can have him look in all directions, and you can open and close its mouth really easily. This is a Carnotaurus figure. It's got the clay red body with the darker detailing spots on the sides and the brown right along the top. You can see that the Carnotaurus has a lot of bumps and ridges and that spine right there as well. And with this figure, the tail controls the head, and there's a button as well to open and close its mouth. Here's another newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series, and I think this is one of my favorite newest dinosaur figures. This is the Rajasaurus. This figure also has a chomping action when you press down on the legs, and you can adjust its arms, its legs, and even twist its tail around a little bit. I love this dinosaur's head. You've got the horn right at the top, and you've got this really cool, smaller spine right on its neck, these spikes. It's really cool. Here we have another very well-known apex predator. This is a Velociraptor. This specific one is actually Velociraptor Charlie from the Amber collection. So this figure is very adjustable, can move all the different parts of its arms and legs, and you can adjust its head quite a bit as well too. And it's even got this headpiece right behind its face too. This is another ginormous T-Rex, and this T-Rex is pretty adjustable as well. As you can see, you can move the arms up and down, you can adjust the leg position, and instead of moving the neck and face up here, you actually can control it with the tail by swiveling it. This is another Velociraptor from the Amber collection. This one is Velociraptor Echo. This Velociraptor has the light brown coloring as well as the dark black right on top. And just like the other Amber collection Velociraptor, it is very adjustable on all different parts of its body. You can even move the claws on its feet up and down. Back over here, we've got a smaller Indominus Rex figure. This is an older Jurassic World figure. It's got the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. And this figure is fairly adjustable as well. You can move the legs a little bit, you can move the arms just a bit, and the tail controls the mouth and the neck too. We've got a few more awesome looking Baryonyxes in here. This first one has a slide action for different roaring sound effects. And this Baryonyx doesn't have any buttons on it, but you can use the tail to move the head around. Right over here is a well-known predator from Jurassic World. Once again, it isn't a real dinosaur, but I can guarantee this would be an apex predator. This is the Scorpius Rex. This figure has 2 action buttons on its back, one for the mouth and one for the claws. And the rest of the figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the legs quite a bit, and you can adjust the neck to have it look around. And the tail is spring-loaded too, so you can fling the tail back and forth with those poisonous quills. Back here is a huge water dinosaur that I'm sure you recognize from the first Jurassic World movie. This is the Mosasaurus. This figure is ginormous. It's got a dark blue body on the top and then a white underbelly. And all over its body you can actually see these like white specks, a little bit of detailing. And there's a few things that you can move on this figure. You can move the fins around, you can swivel the tail back and forth, and you can open and close the jaw, which is a pretty big jaw, I'd say. Probably fit a few small dinosaurs in there. Here's another popular apex predator. This is the Spinosaurus. Did you know that the Spinosaurus is the largest known carnivorous dinosaur that existed? These were even bigger than T-Rexes. This figure has an adjustable tail, the legs are pretty movable, as well as the ankles. You can move the arms up and down, and you can actually adjust the neck quite a bit as well too. Here is another awesome T-Rex predator. This looks to be very similar as the first T-Rex that I unboxed in this video, but with different coloring. See, it's got the brown body and the darker brown on top, and just like the other T-Rex, adjustable tail, you can move the legs and the arms, and you can move the head around too. Here's another dinosaur from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is a Quetzalcoatlus. I didn't really know how big these dinosaurs were until I saw them in the new Jurassic World movie. These things were huge, and they took down that plane. This is a Ceratosaurus. I think we actually have another one with different coloring. This one is a dark green color with black detailing on the top, and this one is a light gray with red and a darker gray detailing on the top as well. and they both have that slide action button for different sound effects and different roars. I think the sound effects are the same though. This one's an interesting looking dinosaur. This is a Cryolophosaurus. Look at that interesting crowning on the top of its head. This Cryolophosaurus has a dark blue body with white, red, and bright orange detailing. And you can move the arms, you can move the legs, and you can use the tail to move the head around. Here is another mighty Carnotaurus, the red side and the dark, it's almost like a purple color on the top. This dinosaur has an adjustable tail and adjustable legs and arms, and there's a button on the top for the chomping action. Here's a species I don't think we've seen in this collection yet. This is an Allosaurus. It's got the dark green body with the red and white detailing. See, it's got those spikes right along its spines up top, and you can adjust the arms and the legs and the tail, and it's got the slide action button for different roars and chomps. This bright red dinosaur is a Metriacanthosaurus. It's a pretty interesting looking one. It's smaller than most of the other figures. It's got the bright orange detailing on the top of its head and the action button on its back for chomping. Next up, we've got, I believe, a Majungasaurus. This is a super colorful dinosaur. It's got the dark green, yellow, and blue on its neck. It's got those teal eyes. And like many of the other dinosaur figures, you can use the tail to move the head and neck around. This is an Albertosaurus with the Battle Damage edition. As you can see, it's got two different types of battle damage. One that's right there on the top of the plastic, and one that you can actually open up. This has the stomach and ribs that you can close down, and then the skin that you can do to cover all of the battle damage. That's pretty cool. The rest of the figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the legs, arms, and tail, as well as the neck, and you can open and close the mouth manually. Over here is the Carcharodontosaurus with a blue body and orange and brown detailing. Look at all those spikes right along its spine too. It's interesting how they're all different heights. With this figure, you can move the arms, legs, and tail, and there's an action button on top for chomping. Here is another Allosaurus with different coloring and different actions too. Check out those spikes right along its spine. You can see the two action buttons right here, one for the mouth and one for the arms. And I think we actually have one more Allosaurus in here with different coloring. This one is gray with yellow detailing. You can only move the arms and legs in this figure, aside from the action button on its back that controls its mouth. Right over here is another Albertosaurus. This figure is about medium-sized, and it does not have any battle damage like the one we saw earlier, but it's still pretty adjustable. You can move the arms, the legs, and you can use the tail to control the face. Here is another Carnotaurus. This one is a newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. As you can see, it's got the broken horn in the front, and this figure is smaller, but pretty adjustable. You can move the legs, the arms, twist the tail, and you can move the head and jaw around too. Here are a few small Dilophosaurus figures. This first one is mostly gray with red detailing and an action button on the tail that activates the frills. The second one is a bit more brightly colored. It has a green body and two different tones of orange, as well as the action button to activate the frills. And last but not least, we've got a bunch of smaller Velociraptor figures. Oh, actually, this is another baby T-Rex, just like we saw at the beginning of the video. But the rest of these figures are all Velociraptors, so let's check them out one by one. First, we've got the tan and brown Velociraptor. This one has a slashing action, spring-loaded torso, so it swings back and forth. This Velociraptor has a brown and yellow body with battle damage that you can open and close on the side. This next Velociraptor has a red and dark purple body, and you can move the arms, legs, and tail, as well as the mouth, but there's no special features on this figure. And these last two figures are similar in movement, but with different coloring. It's got the blue body with the yellow and gold coloring. This one has a dark brown color with orange on the top.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out this massive collection of predator dinosaurs. And we're gonna start off with these brand new figures right here. Let's go ahead and start with this one. This is the Sound Strike Irritator. Let's go ahead and open it up. All right, this is a really cool looking dinosaur. Check out that super tall spine along its back. It's got light blue and dark blue along its back, all the way up to its neck. This dinosaur has two actions. First, a thrashing action with the tail and the head. The second is a chomping action with the tail, moves the head up and down. That is super cool, and I love the sound effects on this one too. Next up, we've got a Jurassic World Dominion Pyroraptor. Let's check it out. Alright, this is actually the first Pyroraptor of my collection, so I'm super excited to check it out. Most of its body is a clay red color. It's got some brighter red right on the top here, and then the back side of it is a black color. On this figure, the tail moves, the legs move, you can twist the ankles too, as well as the arms. But the jaw doesn't open and close on this one. Overall, this figure looks pretty cool. Next up, we've got a Jurassic World Dominion Atrociraptor. Let's open it up. All right, so this Atrociraptor is basically the exact same size as the Pyroraptor, and it looks pretty cool, it looks pretty ferocious. Its body's all white, except for those black-brown stripes. It's got those red eyes right there. And just like the Pyroraptor, you can move the tail, the legs, and the arms, but the jaw and the head doesn't move at all. Next up, we've got this old Jurassic World Special Edition Indominus Rex. Look at all the crazy coloring on this Indominus Rex. That is really cool. And it's got a button right here that launches the spikes out. Next up, we've got a super detailed Giganotosaurus. This is a super cool model because look at the attention to detail all over its body. See, it's got the green eyes, it's got tons of teeth, and those actually look pretty sharp. And the skin all over its body looks super realistic and textured. That is really cool. The only part that moves on this dinosaur though is the jaw. Here we've got a super old Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is from the Jurassic Park line. Its body is all green and orange right up to the head. And this T-Rex can actually eat miniature dinosaurs too. It has a tunnel that goes all the way down to its stomach, and you can get the miniature dinosaurs out right here. How cool is that? Here we've got another Indominus Rex. This one is normally colored, as you can see, and is one of the older Jurassic World dinosaurs. This figure is pretty big. It's probably about 2 feet long, and it comes with some actions. When you pull down on the arm, it opens and closes its mouth. And you can move the legs, and check it out. Its whole head and neck is super rubbery, and the rest of its body is a hard plastic. Right up top here, we've got a Tyrannosaurus Rex with battle damage that you can turn on and off, just like that, with a click of a button. That is super cool, and the rest of the figure is fully posable as well, with the tail, the legs, the ankles, the arms, the neck, and the mouth. Next up, we've got a custom colored Indominus Rex. Look at how differently this one looks. It's got the bright blue on the underbelly, leads up to the purple on the sides, and then that orange detailing right along the black. And check out all those spikes and those green eyes too. This is a really cool custom colored dinosaur. Here is another Indominus Rex. This one has battle damage, just like that T-Rex we saw earlier, that you can turn on and off. That is so cool, and this figure is fully posable as well. Here we've got a super colorful Velociraptor. This dinosaur is super poseable. You can move basically every joint in its body. And it's got that awesome green-blue coloring along its whole body with all that gray detailing throughout. Next up, we've got a bright predator called the Majungasaurus. This dinosaur has some teeny tiny little arms up front. It's got a big tail with spikes on the underside and some blue and yellow detailing right on the top and on its face. Here is a totally different colored predator. This is the Rajasaurus. It's got a brown body and a gray-blue detailing along the top. It's got those spines right along its neck and a little horn right on the top of its head. Here is a Carnotaurus. It's got a clay red body with a darker brown along the top. You can move the arms and the legs and the tail. And the tail actually controls the head, so you can move it around. Here we've got a ferocious beast from the Jurassic World movies. This is a Scorpius Rex. It's got an all black body with a yellow underbelly. And this dinosaur has two actions. First is with the jaw, and the second is a slashing action with this button. Here, we've got another T-Rex, but this is a hybrid T-Rex because it's got those huge spines on its back that you can actually close and hide. And then when you press this button on its back, they'll pop out. That is super cool. And super interesting coloring on this too. It's green with gold on the top and the bottom, and it's got this interesting pattern right along its side. Here is a medium-sized Spinosaurus. This one is all green except for the white and red along its spine and the red right around its eyes too. This is a medium-sized Velociraptor. It can move its legs and its arms, but you can't close its mouth. Its body is mostly brown with gray striping along the top. Here is another T-Rex, but totally different colored. You can see that this dinosaur is from the older Jurassic World toy series. Its body is all tan with a slightly lighter underbelly, and it's got an action button on the top that controls the jaw. This is the Albertosaurus with the all green body and battle damage. With this battle damage, you can open it up and you can actually pull down the ribs or push them back up to reveal the stomach inside, and it's actually a little squishy. Plus, it's got some battle damage right here too. This is an Indominus Rex and super detailed. This thing has more spikes than many of the other Indominus Rexes that I have. That's really cool. And the only thing that moves in this model is the mouth. This is a Suchomimus. It's all yellow and brown, and it comes with two action buttons. One that controls the face, and one that controls the tail. Right over here, we've got a model of an Endoraptor. It's an all black body with the yellow and orange detailing on the sides and all along its spikes right there. That is really cool. And it's in a crouching position as if it's sneaking along. That's so awesome. This is a Ceratosaurus. It's got a gray underbelly and red and black detailing on the tops and sides. Check out that horn right up top too. This predator is a Baryonyx. It's got a brown body with a dark gray detailing on top and bright orange accenting right on top of its head. This, I believe, is another Ceratosaurus, but this one is a dark green with black accenting along the top. You can see it's got a bunch of bumps right along the top of its body too. This Ceratosaurus has a slide action, so you can actually get a few different roars from it. Here is another medium-sized Velociraptor. This one, though, is a tan color with green striping along the top, and you can move the arms and legs, but the mouth is stuck open just like that. Here is a medium-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex model. And look at all the shading and detail to its body too. I really like this one because of how cool it looks with the clay red coloring alongside the black. This is a Cryolophosaurus. It's got an all yellow body with brown detailing on the top and that bright orange right on the top of its head. Plus, with this dinosaur, you can move the tail to control the head. Here is a giant winged predator. This is a pteranodon. It's got an all blue underbelly and the bottom of its wings, and on the top, it's got a dark red with some white accenting on its wings. Next up, we've got an Allosaurus. Check out the yellow underbelly and the blue detailing on its legs and the top of its body and its face. And this Allosaurus has 2 action buttons. The first controls the jaw, and the second controls the arms. We've got another old Jurassic World toy series Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I believe this one has custom coloring. It's got an all red body with black spots, a yellow underbelly, and yellow eyes. Here is another Carnotaurus. But this one is smaller than the other figures we've seen, and it's actually a little bit rubbery. You can actually kind of bend the legs a little bit, but it's still got those 2 giant horns on its head. Right over here, we've got a few more Indominus Rexes. They're a little differently sized, and they're both from the old Jurassic World toy lines. Both of them have battle damage. This one is always visible, but on this figure, you can actually hide the battle damage. And they both come with an action that when you move down the tail, they jump. Right over here, we've got a super brightly colored Dilophosaurus. Check out the bright blue along its body, and in the very front, super bright yellow and red. This dinosaur is a Metriacanthosaurus, and it's got a yellow-green color on the underbelly and on the sides, and on the very top is a darker green. Plus, there's an action button that controls the jaw. Right over here is a smaller dinosaur. This is a Masiakasaurus. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. And it has an all-green body with brighter green right along the top, plus an action button to control the head and the neck. Here we've got another Endoraptor. This Endoraptor is all black aside from the detailing right along the side. And you can control the arms, the legs, and the tail, but there's no button to open and close the jaw. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Check it out, it's got the black stripes right along its body. Its torso is actually pretty big, and this figure is standing in a roaring pose, just like that. This is a Carnotaurus from the new Jurassic World Dominion toy line. You can see that one of the horns is broken off, just like in the movie. And you can move its legs, its arms, its neck, and its head. Here is a super interesting looking dinosaur. It looks like it has feathers all over its body. I think it might be a T-Rex, but I can't quite tell. But how crazy is that? Look at those feathers right along the top of its head too. Here is a smaller Ceratosaurus. This is an older Jurassic World toy, and it's got battle damage right there on the side too. I think it's out of batteries, but normally it would light up. Plus, when you pull down on the tail, it opens and closes its jaw. Ooh, here's another old Jurassic World toy. I actually can't tell what type of dinosaur this is. Maybe an Allosaurus, I can't tell. But it's got a little bit of damage on the side and super brightly colored. It's got that yellow and red all along its body. Here are a few more Velociraptors, and look at the size difference too. This is an older Jurassic World Velociraptor, and this is a newer one. This one is dark brown with gray stripes along the top and battle damage, and you can actually control the tail to move the mouth. And on this Velociraptor, it's a lot smaller, but just as adjustable. You can even open and close the mouth by hand.
All right, another model Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one is a dark green color and is in that roaring pose too. Check it out. Here are some interesting looking dinosaurs. I believe this one is a Herrerasaurus. And this dinosaur is fully adjustable with the legs, the arms, the neck, and the mouth too. And this dinosaur is from the old Jurassic Park toy line. I actually can't quite tell what type of dinosaur this is. I'm unfamiliar with this one. Up next, I bet you recognize this from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is a Dimetrodon. It's got that bright orange accenting right along its spine and the yellow along its body. And this front arm right here controls its mouth. We've got a few more T-Rexes in here. This is another model T-Rex, a bit smaller than the others. It's got a yellow underbelly and brown and black top. It's got those red eyes too. And these other T-Rexes are from the old Jurassic World toy line. Check out this bright orange one. This is actually a hybrid dinosaur. It's got gold right along the top with the black stripes. Plus, it's got an action that when you move the tail, it controls its face. Same with this T-Rex too. This T-Rex though is bright green with battle damage on the side. And when you control the tail, the mouth moves. Next up, we've got a new dinosaur from the Jurassic World Dominion movies. This is an Atrociraptor. It's in that sneaking pose. It's crawling close to the ground. We've got another super brightly colored Dilophosaurus. Check out that bright green along its body and the orange right along the top. And the final dinosaur of the bin is a Monolophosaurus with battle damage on the side that you can open and close. This Monolophosaurus is also fully adjustable with the legs, the arms, the neck, and the mouth. Today we're checking out some of Jurassic World's most dangerous dinosaur figures. And I've even got this brand new Dino Tracker Endoraptor figure that we're gonna open up in a little bit. Let's get started with this huge Indominus Rex figure in the very back. This figure is probably 2 or 3 feet long from tail to the head. It's got the gray color and 2 action buttons, one for slashing the claws and the other for opening and closing the jaw. Next up, we've got another awesome dinosaur from Jurassic World. This one is from the Dominion movie. This is a Giganotosaurus. This figure is probably 2 feet long and it has some action buttons. You can use the button to swing its torso around with sound effects. And there's another button to open and close the jaw as well. Next up is the huge Spinosaurus dinosaur figure. This is the Legacy Collection Spinosaurus, and I believe that these were some of the largest land carnivores ever. And check it out, there's a button to open and close its long, narrow jaw. It's also got a tongue as well, and some really cool detailing. And how could we have a most dangerous dinosaur without a T-Rex in the collection? This is the battle damage T-Rex that you can turn on and off with the click of a button. It's also got those tiny front arms, the huge back legs, and a fully posable body too. Another dangerous dinosaur is the Allosaurus. This is from Jurassic World Dominion, so it's a newer figure. It's got the extreme battle damage on the side that you can open up to reveal the inside. You can close the rib and then close the skin as well. And it's got an action button on its back for chomping and roaring. It's also got some decently sized front arms. I think they're bigger than a lot of the T-Rex's arms in comparison to their back legs. This is the Therizinosaurus, and although I believe that this was an herbivore, I'm sure you remember from Jurassic World Dominion that this was not a dinosaur that you want to mess with because of these huge claws on its hands. This figure also has some action buttons as well. You can use the tail to twist the torso around and to open and close its jaw and move its neck too. Next up is the Tarbosaurus figure from Jurassic World. This looks a lot like a T-Rex because it's got those small front arms and the big back legs, but some differences are it's got these huge spikes running all along its spine to its tail. It's got some really cool coloring. And with this figure, you can use the tail to twist the head back and forth and open and close the jaw too. I love those red eyes that match its chin too. Now here is a super dangerous dinosaur because of how smart it is. This is the Indoraptor. It's got the gold stripe running all the way down both sides of its body, and this is actually a pretty sizable figure. It might be 1.5 feet long, or maybe a bit over a foot. And this figure has some actions. You can use its tail to twist its head back and forth and its torso as well, and you can move its claws and open and close its jaws too. So you can do quite a bit with this figure, which is really cool. Since we saw the older Indoraptor, why don't we check out this new Jurassic World Dino Trackers Track and Attack Indoraptor figure. Let's open it up and check it out. All right, this Indoraptor figure might actually be even a little bit larger than the one that we just saw, and it is super reflective. It's still black, but it almost has this bluish reflectiveness all over it. It's also got the gold stripe as well, and there's also this tracker headpiece that you can put right on to the dinosaur. And there we go, the headpiece is now on. But let's check out these other functions. There is a button on its back that when you press that, it opens its jaws. And its eyes light up as well. And these teeth are actually quite a bit larger than on the previous versions of Indoraptors 2, which I think is a really cool touch. And you can move both arms up and down to move its neck and for a slashing action too. Our next dangerous dinosaur from Jurassic World is this Megaraptor figure. It's got the red and blue coloring, it's got the huge claws on its hands, and the smaller front arms and the huge back legs, plus an action when you press down on its body, it chomps with sound effects. Over here, we've got the Scorpius Rex figure with 2 action buttons, one to operate its jaw, and one to operate its arms too. Look at that slashing action. It's also got a spring-loaded tail with those poisonous quills, and you can adjust the legs for standing and for crawling as well. This dangerous dinosaur is the Baryonyx from the Hammond collection. So this figure has a bit more detailing in its body and the coloring, and it is super posable, so this is a perfect display dinosaur. Next up is this huge Carnotaurus figure. I would not want to meet this dinosaur in the wild. This dinosaur stands on its 2 back legs, and it has little itty bitty front arms, maybe even smaller than a T-Rex. And on this figure, you can use the tail to move the head around in a real lifelike way, and open and close the jaw too. All right, we've got another Indoraptor figure. This is the basic edition, so there's a lot less that you can do with this in terms of actions, but it looks like it's in the crawling pose, which is really cool, sneaking along the ground. Still got some quills on the top of its back, and those red eyes too. Let's not forget about the good old Velociraptor. These are definitely some dangerous dinosaurs. This is an older figure from Jurassic World. It's got the dark green body with the black detailing. You can move the arms, and I don't think you can move the legs at all. So actually on this figure, the only thing you can move are the arms. Ooh, here is a really interesting dangerous dinosaur figure. This is a Dilophosaurus. And if you remember from the movies, these dinosaurs actually spit poisonous venom, which is really interesting. I'm not sure I know of any other dinosaur that does that. And this Dilophosaurus figure is pretty basic, so it's got the all red body. You can move the arms, the legs, and the tail, as well as open and close the frills beside its head. Here is a Dimetrodon, which I'm sure you recognize from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. I've actually got 2 of them over here. And they have totally different coloring, but still they both have the orange spine on both. This one has a light blue body, and you can use its tail for a chomping action. And this figure doesn't have an attack button, but you can still move its legs, you can twist its tail, and you can manually adjust its head too. Next up is a Baryonyx figure. This dinosaur is definitely dangerous. This figure has the green body with some brown along the top. It's got the small front arms and the larger back legs, though not quite as big as a T-Rex. or many of the other dinosaurs, and it's got an action button on its back for chomping its long, narrow jaw. Alright, check this out. This is a Mosasaurus figure. And although this figure is small, in real life these dinosaurs are ginormous, and I would be super scared if I ran into one of these in the ocean in real life. This figure has some battle damage on the side. It's kind of old, so it might be a little broken, but it can open and close to reveal the battle damage underneath. Next up, we've got some Atrociraptor figures from Jurassic World Dominion. This first one is the white with brown stripes, the classic Atrociraptor figure. I've also got this battle damage Atrociraptor figure right here with the dark red body with darker detailing along the top and the battle damage right on the side that you can turn on and off. That is a really cool feature. Here's another Velociraptor figure. This one has some really cool bright coloring, the green and the red striping. It's also got some battle damage on the side. It's a button that you can press. It used to light up, but it's really old, so it doesn't work anymore. And with this figure, you can actually move the tail to open and close the jaw. And as you can see with these earlier figures, there's barely any teeth. It's like they barely painted them on. So they're doing a lot better job with them nowadays. Next up is the Pachycephalosaurus, and although it's an herbivore, you better watch out for these dinosaurs because those hard heads will headbutt you and that would hurt so much. With this figure, you can use the tail for a spring-loaded headbutting action, and you can adjust the head and move the arms and the legs as well. Here's a bigger dinosaur. This is the Ceops microrarum. This dinosaur definitely looks scary and dangerous. It's got some really cool coloring all over its body. It's got tons of spikes along its back and on the top of its head. Kind of looks like hair in kind of a funny way. It's got some green eyes, and there's an action button to move its neck and to open and close its jaws too. Look out for those scary teeth. Here is a winged dinosaur. I believe it's called a Dimorphodon. And although it's small, look at that huge jaw and all those teeth. You definitely want to stay out of the way of this winged dinosaur. And for our last two dinosaurs of the bin, we've got two smaller Velociraptor figures, but they each have different features. This first one is a bit more basic. You can move the arms, the legs, and the mouth, but it doesn't have any action button or anything like that. However, this second one, which is a lot brighter, you can adjust its arms and its head as well. This one is actually spring-loaded, so you can actually have this Velociraptor spring up into the air, which is a really cool feature.
Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.